Hello again. Dad's here with me, and Johnny's over on the couch as always. And we are going to be doing our numbers as we always do. Our numbers include warm responses, auditions, booked jobs, and our income from certain things. So I don't think John's will be in. It won't be income for their business, for VOMP's business, but for Dad and I as voiceover talents, we will give our specific earnings for this week. So, as always, Johnny,
all right,
let's hear how the VO Marketing Pro group did.
We had. Sorry about that. Gets to say it.
Count them up.
We had 41 warm responses.
Nice.
We had 8 auditions, and we had 3 jobs reported. They include you and Dad.
Okay.
A little bit of a slower week here for jobs reported. I know we have 3 jobs that we just can't talk about just yet that we think are going to come through.
3 on top of the 3 that were already
Yeah, we're just waiting. We are careful with how we confirm those just because every once in a while something happens last minute and it doesn't come through. But it looks like there's a good chance that these will come to fruition. So hopefully we will be reporting on those next week. But Kimberly Young received a job from a recurring client. Dad, you received a new client, and Hudson received a recurring client.
I sure did.
And so
I had two. I just got one this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So I had one from Ireland earlier, and then this
4,
one I can't remember
guess.
what it's for, where it's from, and so. But yep, I had 2, and just again a reminder that because I've been doing this so long, I don't count my recurring clients.
Correct.
Because
don't
I would
count
have 10, 12 a week.
Yeah.
But again, that's not an in your face.
No.
It's more of an encouragement that if you stay in this, then all of a sudden, one of these new clients turns into a recurring client.
Yep.
And then you go down the line and you miss 2 or 3 that don't become recurring clients. And then you get another one that becomes a once a month client. And pretty soon
Just out of the woodwork. They're coming.
pretty soon you've got 4 or 5 that come back regularly, and you've got yourself a business, a direct email marketing business. Yep. That's why we don't have mine listed.
Yep. And so we tell you that we make cold calls on behalf of the roster.
Yeah.
We do promote that we do have, in-house people as well that we work with. But that's based off of Andy's emails sent out. And we had a few nice, really good phone calls this week. Drew makes those. He does those once a week. We talked about increasing those because we found that for some people, video production companies, they like that touch, the talking to somebody, and like direct email works obviously, but it also works. Some people like that the cold calls. They get lots of emails. We've talked about that. They get lots of emails throughout the week, and so they'll say, "Yeah, this will help me keep track." And so then what we do is we follow up with them. I put a note in my calendar to get in front of them on behalf of the roster, and try to customize that a little bit to what they talked about on the phone with Drew. And then we ask if we can stay in front and keep that roster in front. And lots of them are willing to do that and wanting us to do that. So we then stay in contact with those people. So
I was just going to say, I was going to say 2 things. You and Mom are in training.
Yeah.
You're watching and going to, at some level or the other, do some cold calling or, some other nuances of warm cold calls. Yep. Pick up the phone and actually talk to a person, and it's on your behalf, those of you who are part of the roster. And it helps everybody. It doesn't just help the roster. It's because a lot of times things overflow or they connect to other people that aren't even on the roster. So it will help. The other thing was Drew works full time. And so he does this at his lunch hour once a week, and then kind of trains you guys because he's a professional. He does that. He's done that for years and years. He's been on the phone. But he said this to us last week. He said, I think that, somebody should be doing this full time, making cold calls, because you get right to the person, you make a connection. Some people don't like that. Maybe they won't pick up the phone.
Yep.
So you have to leave a message. But other people seem to like it. They like the personal touch, and you get a response right away. And then you can go back and forth with emails, and those have yielded fruit, and they will continue to yield fruit. And I think we were shooting for like 25.
Yes.
To explain that, if you would.
So we have a goal as we started off the 2023 to have a goal. One of our goals was to get 25 companies that use us, meaning the roster, based off of Andy's emails sending out that he sends out throughout the month from your database.
Right.
And so whether it's referrals or whatever it is, getting those video production companies to come back to us. So that's our goal. I don't know. Joe has it. I think we have some that are coming back to us, but we actually had, I think it was a week or two ago that I think 2 or 3 of them came the same week, which is nice.
Yeah.
But that's why you want to build that up so that when you don't have, because Joe said, we're probably going to have a little bit of a lull with the roster because we just don't have those people that consistently come back to us, or a few of them that come back to us consistently aren't. They just used some people in the group. So that's what we're working on. And so like Drew says, I think that this is a good option. And we've talked about that there's one person from our group that's been with us for a while that said that he would like to start doing that. So we're getting information together on how to make those cold calls. It's not rocket science by any
it's a gut
stretch.
check.
It's just going and doing it. And so we try to make it more of a simple thing for you to make a call. Yeah. And we'll have that. We're looking to have that information if anybody else is ambitious to do that or feels comfortable doing that. For some people, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. And like you said, off of what you said about getting a hold of somebody, you get to know right away if somebody wants to talk to you or not. And you might even find out right away if you want to kind of take them as an unsubscribe, meaning they really don't, either they don't do it or they don't really want to have that. And so it's kind of a nice right up there up front and do that while it's not fun. It's
what is the not to get deep into the weeds here, but I've made lots and lots and lots of phone calls the first few years, the cold calls. What is it that makes us not? What is it? Is it fear of rejection?
Rejection, it's got to be.
Like somebody get mad at you?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Okay. What about is it just, it could be the awkwardness? Like, okay, somebody, because that happened with me a few times where it was like, oh, this is the 4th call I've gotten today. And it's like, okay, sorry. How do I handle that? And some of us aren't real quick on our feet. And so we have a script in front of us, but we have to go off script. Mm-hmm. One of the things I found out, though, just like everything, even if you're not very fast on your feet, the more you do, the better you get. You just do. It's still not fun. There's kind of an adrenaline rush when you pick up the phone and you hear that. You just did some this week, didn't you? I
did warm responses because I'm too much of a chicken.
But you heard the dialing there, and you go, oh, I hope somebody doesn't pick up. I hope somebody does. But I want somebody to pick up. It's kind of this emotional.
For me, getting an email from somebody or even a text, if I were to even text back and forth, there's just something about, I think, hearing somebody tell you, I'm not interested, or don't call me back, or this is the 7th call I've gotten today in a row. I just want to, ready for the weekend or whatever, you know what I mean? If somebody were to email me that, I just put it doesn't matter for me in that sense. I don't know
Depends
why,
on how bad you want it, though.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, again, people can do themselves. They don't have to do cold calls, but it might take your game to the next level. It might take your income to the next level. That's what I was talking with Hudson about.
I think that's what Drew's comment was about, is that we don't, sometimes he might make 10 calls in a day and he might get 7 voicemails because people have caller ID and they don't know who it is, and so they don't answer. But those can turn into something too. But I think what you said earlier is important. If you want to start out with cold calls, I'm talking as an expert. Drew's kind of the expert. But from what I've seen, I did do some customer support stuff for a while back, about 12, 13 years ago.
It's fresh.
Yeah. But if you want to, I mean, I think that it's an easy way to get on the phone and say, hey, whatever the person's name is, we'll use Roy because that's our dog's name. And you never know. Roy, you got a hold of me, or I got a hold of you via email, and I'm just getting back.
Yep.
I want to check in and see if you have any jobs. That's a pretty easy one because they've already responded to you once, and at least you have that to say. And if they say, oh, whatever, you have them a little bit that they probably get lots of them, so they probably did respond that way. And so you can just have that conversation that's a little bit of an icebreaker, and then you can get kind of good at that. And then, like you said, I think then it will propel you on to doing more of a calling up, just cold Google.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're good at e-learning or something like that, and you want to type that into like you would sending out emails on a hybrid approach, and just find their number and call whoever it is and say, just wondering if you're accepting demos or if you're
exactly. That's what you do when you're on the front end. The basic, you haven't sent emails and you're responding to a warm responses, and that's the kind of cold calling I did all of, which was just a cold call. Video production company, ad agency, voice roster. Hi, Todd, full-time voiceover talent. Are you accepting demos? Yeah, let me get you to the person. Or yeah, send it. Can I get your email address? And then you go and send the email address and then try to go back and forth a little bit and stay on their radar. But the other way is to send out emails and then to keep track of them and then say, circle back, 2, 3, 4 weeks later and just say, hey, you sent an email. I sent it. You responded, and I'm just getting back with you. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's part of the some of it's part of the information that we have in our cold call information that we will probably have available to other people in VO Marketing Pro soon. So that's all I've got.
Great.
But cold calls are working, and we'll keep building on that and keep building up hopefully recurring clients on the video or on the roster side of things. So
and those are free once again.
Huh?
Added value.
Yeah, they're
yes.
added.
But anyway, all right. My numbers: 8 warm responses, 1 audition, a recurring client. Sent me a job, $400. That really helped out my week. Without that, then I only had one other job on Fiverr for $7, so I get $5.60 in your face. And then I had 15 hours of editing for Dad for a grand total of $705.60. I was $45.40 off of my goal, but that's the closest I've gotten in the last 3 weeks, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I got a squeaky chair. Sorry about that. So my week was 2 new clients, and that's been unusual this year. I haven't gotten a lot of new clients. I might be at 10 now this year. Fiverr, $592. So we were low on Fiverr, and we were low on direct email marketing, $3,250. My total under $4,000 this week, $3,842. $3,842. One quick thing. On Wednesday, and this has been Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but especially Wednesday, I made $850, and it was one of those grinded out days. And if you were to look at the sheet that I fill things out, you would notice that the highest paying job I did was $150. I did a $60 job. I did an $85 job. I did a few like five, maybe $100 jobs. And all of those jobs would have been below the GVAA rate guide. In other words, if I wouldn't have accepted those,
you wouldn't have had any work.
I wouldn't have had any work that day. And so I'm not going to get into all of that, but I'm just telling you, I've talked about the GVAA rate guide, and I know what people would say. They'd say, well, you hurt the industry by accepting those. You need to accept higher paying jobs, and
You've got bills to pay.
And I don't buy into that mentality. They're going to get somebody to do that work, and so I'm doing that work. In fact, there's one client that I've probably made close to $20,000 already this year. That was the one that came to me and said, we got a lot of work, but we only pay $100 per corporate and small internet commercial. Yeah. But I've done probably close to 200 of those this year already.
Wow, I've edited that many.
Yeah, you edit them for me. So anyway, that was my week. Just a little bit of something there to tack on, get me in trouble again.
Well, I think next week you're gonna be just blowing out of the water there.
Maybe, I had that. I went over $100,000. I think I'm at like 100 and that's the earliest I've ever been over 100,000. But remember, I had a client that really did a lot of work for me, so I got this big influx of work. So I expect things to be more normal or slowing down. So I'm thinking about we've talked about that, lowering my rate a little bit on Fiverr, try to beat the bushes, continuing to
check Upwork,
do as much as I can.
Baby.
Yeah, Upwork. So we all have weeks that we've got to rethink some things, tweak some things, don't flail.
Yeah, we see out of office. We saw a fair amount this week when Joe sent out. I mean, there's only so much you can do because you need to send out. But I think there's spring break and maybe spring break's done. But there's people traveling and
nice
things
weather
like that.
the week
In the
before.
Midwest,
So, not trying to make excuses. It's just is what it is. That you never know when you're gonna have a slower week. So you just got to keep your head about you and not ride the roller coaster. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for watching this. We will see you Wednesday for our 55th episode of the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. Take care. Whew, you made it through that long one. Thanks for doing that. If you're interested in more content like that, check out maybe one of these. And maybe, I don't know, click on this. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want.